The best and most beautiful things in the world cannot be seen, or even touched, they must be felt with the heart. Optimism is the faith that leads to achievement. Nothing can be done without hope and confidence. Alone we can do so little, together we can do so much. Keep your face to the sunshine, and you cannot see a shadow. Character cannot be developed in ease and quiet. Only through experience of trial and suffering can the soul be strengthened, ambition inspired, and success achieved. Walking with a friend in the dark is better than walking alone in the light. What we have once enjoyed we can never lose. All that we love deeply becomes a part of us. The only thing worse than being blind is having sight but no vision. Never bend your head. Always hold it high. Look the world straight in the eye. Everything has its wonders, even darkness and silence, and I learn, whatever state I may be in, therein to be content. Your success and happiness lies in you. Resolve to keep happy, and your joy in you shall form an invincible host against difficulties. Security is mostly a superstition. It does not exist in nature, nor do the children of men as a whole experience it. Avoiding danger is no safer in the long run than outright exposure. Life is either a daring adventure, or nothing. Although the world is full of suffering, it is also full of the overcoming of it. Avoiding danger is no safer, in the long run than outright exposure. The fearful are caught as often as the bold. We could never learn to be brave and patient, if there were only joy in the world. Knowledge is love and light and vision. True happiness is not attained through self-gratification, but through fidelity to a worthy purpose. Faith is the strength by which a shattered world shall emerge into the light. Love is like a beautiful flower, which I may not touch, but whose fragrance makes the garden a place of delight just the same. What I am looking for is not out there, it is in me. So long as the memory of certain beloved friends lives in my heart, I shall say that life is good. It is wonderful how much time good people spend fighting the devil. If they would only expend the same amount of energy loving their fellow men, the devil would die in his own tracks of ennui. We can do anything we want to if we stick to it long enough. Life is either a great adventure or nothing. Death is no more than passing from one room into another. But there's a difference for me, you know. Because in that other room I shall be able to see. I long to accomplish a great and noble task, but it is my chief duty to accomplish small tasks as if they were great and noble. The highest result of education is tolerance. One can never consent to creep when one feels an impulse to soar. Until the great mass of the people shall be filled with the sense of responsibility for each other's welfare, social justice can never be attained. No pessimist ever discovered the secret of the stars, or sailed to an uncharted land, or opened a new doorway for the human spirit. The most pathetic person in the world is someone who has sight, but has no vision. Self-pity is our worst enemy, and if we yield to it, we can never do anything wise in this world. To me, a lush carpet of pine needles, or spongy grass is more welcome than the most luxurious Persian rug. When we do the best that we can, we never know what miracle is wrought in our life, or in the life of another. Literature is my utopia. Here I am not disenfranchised. No barrier of the senses shuts me out from the sweet, gracious discourses of my book friends. They talk to me without embarrassment or awkwardness. Once I knew only darkness and stillness. My life was without past or future. But a little word from the fingers of another fell into my hand that clutched at emptiness, and my heart leapt to the rapture of living. The marvelous richness of human experience would lose something of rewarding joy if there were no limitations to overcome. The hilltop hour would not be half so wonderful if there were no dark valleys to traverse. I do not want the peace which passeth understanding, I want the understanding which bringeth peace. Life is an exciting business, and most exciting when it is lived for others. I can see, and that is why I can be happy, in what you call the dark, but which to me is golden. I can see a God-made world, not a man-made world. All the world is full of suffering. It is also full of overcoming. There is no king who has not had a slave among his ancestors, and no slave who has not had a king among his. Smell is a potent wizard, that transports you across thousands of miles, and all the years you have lived. The world is moved along, not only by the mighty shoves of its heroes, but also by the aggregate of tiny pushes of each honest worker. Science may have found a cure for most evils, but it has found no remedy for the worst of them all, the apathy of human beings. People do not like to think. If one thinks, one must reach conclusions. Conclusions are not always pleasant. Toleration is the greatest gift of the mind. It requires the same effort of the brain that it takes to balance oneself on a bicycle. College isn't the place to go for ideas. Many persons have a wrong idea of what constitutes true happiness. It is not attained through self-gratification, but through fidelity to a worthy purpose. We may have found a cure for most evils, but we have found no remedy for the worst of them all, the apathy of human beings. While they were saying among themselves it cannot be done, it was done. I seldom think about my limitations, and they never make me sad. Perhaps there is just a touch of yearning at times, but it is vague, like a breeze among flowers. Strike against war, for without you no battles can be fought. It is for us to pray not for tasks equal to our powers, but for powers equal to our tasks, to go forward with a great desire forever beating at the door of our hearts as we travel toward our distant goal. It is a terrible thing to see and have no vision. Of all the senses, sight must be the most delightful. No one has a right to consume happiness without producing it. It is not possible for civilization to flow backwards while there is youth in the world. Youth may be headstrong, but it will advance at allotted length. As selfishness and complaint pervert the mind, so love with its joy clears and sharpens the vision. As the eagle was killed by the arrow winged with his own feather, so the hand of the world is wounded by its own skill. It's wonderful to climb the liquid mountains of the sky. Behind me and before me is God and I have no fears. Many people know so little about what is beyond their short range of experience. They look within themselves and find nothing. Therefore they conclude that there is nothing outside themselves either. My share of the work may be limited, but the fact that it is work makes it precious. It is hard to interest those who have everything and those who have nothing. No matter how dull, or how mean, or how wise a man is, he feels that happiness is his indisputable right. Unless we form the habit of going to the Bible, in bright moments as well as in trouble, we cannot fully respond to its consolations, because we lack equilibrium between light and darkness. What a blind person needs is not a teacher but another self. The heresy of one age becomes the orthodoxy of the next. Instead of comparing our lot with that of those who are more fortunate than we are, we should compare it with the lot of the great majority of our fellow men. It then appears that we are among the privileged.